if you have sex, you're gonna get AIDS and you're gonna have a baby, and
You're gonna have a baby and get AIDS, and I'm
the
not ready
baby
to
will
grow
have
up.
AIDS, and then you have to take care of this baby.
You have an AIDS baby at 17. Oh my God.
Hello and welcome to the Roast of Your Teenage Self podcast's very first episode. I'm your host, Alise Morales, former emo kid, scene kid, theater kid, all the various types of kid one could be in early 2000s suburban Virginia. On today's episode, I am talking with comedian Bert Kreischer, and I'm going to get right into the episode, but thank you so much for tuning in to this, our very first episode of the Roast of Your Teenage Self podcast. We have an amazing season with amazing interviews coming at you. You're not going to want to not be subscribed, is what I'm going to say. And then the last thing that I'm going to say, and then I'm going to turn it over to the interview portion of the show, is that for anyone who's watching at home, yes, I did dye my hair blonde immediately before doing this recording. What do you think? Do you think it looks good? My teenage self would never. It's crazy.
Hello and welcome to the Roast of Your Teenage Self podcast. I am your host, your roast coming queen, voted headed for Hollywood in Oakton High School's 2008 graduating class, Alise Morales. And with me today as our very first guest, we have comedian, actor, author, host, former teenager, graduate of Tampa Jesuit High School, Bert Kreischer.
You have no idea. I've been thinking about my teenage self so much because I've been in quarantine with my 15-year-old and my 13-year-old.
Does like a lot of do memories come back, like watching them go through being teenagers?
I am obsessed right now. Not obsessed. That sounds really creepy. I sound like T.I. But I'm obsessed with my daughter Georgia's first kiss. Like, she hasn't had it yet, and when she does have it, we will be coming out of social distancing. And I think to myself, what an interesting first kiss it will be to have a boy break the 6-foot barrier and her being like, "What are you doing?" Like, it's just, a first kiss after social distancing. I remember my first kiss, and the girl did it. She led into it. Oh, if I could I think I look for that feeling every time I drink. That feeling of your stomach dropping.
How old were you when you got your first kiss?
7th grade.
Same. I was in 7th grade, and it was at the end. We went to see the 3rd Harry Potter movie in theaters, and I'm a huge Harry Potter person, and so I would not let him kiss me for the entire movie because I was like focused on the movie. So we kissed immediately after the movie ended.
Can I tell you that you're the type of person that I love in life, is someone who knows what they like and knows what they want and is focused. See, I'm someone that would give up on anything precious to get those life experiences. Like if say I loved the Los Angeles Rams and we were at a game and my wife's like, it's Monday Night Football. They're playing the Chiefs. It's down to the last play. And my wife's like, "Hey, you want a hand job in a toilet stall?" And I'd be like, "Okay, let's go right now." And I'd give up on everything precious.
See, I think for me, I knew even at my young age, I was like, he'll wait and we'll kiss at the end of the movie.
That's
like,
so cool.
This boy is 13. He wants to kiss me. It's going to happen. We'll wait until I see how they kind of reenact one of my favorite books on screen. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to ask like a couple quick questions just to get like a picture of your teenage self. So much has been made of your like college partying life.
Yeah.
But was that part of your life in high school, or were you like, I want to be dedicated to my Catholic education and my sports?
It was not me. I did not party at all. I was terrified of marijuana. I'd smoked it a couple times and it freaked me out. I didn't like drinking. I was terrified of getting hungover. So I would fake drink. Like, I'd have a sip and then put it off to the side and be like, "Oh, I'm wasted." It was not me at all. I was kind of focused on baseball, but I was always funny, but I was a lot more serious, and a lot, like 100% more serious in high school about life, about being a hippie, about music, about growing my hair out. But I was terrified of marijuana, and I was was really scared of getting wasted drunk.
Wow. So what flipped that switch? Did that happen at the end of high school or was that fully in college?
I didn't drink my freshman year, really. Like I said, I got drunk a couple times, but not like I got wasted once my freshman year, and maybe I'd have a couple beers, but I didn't really care for it. I barely drank at all my sophomore year. And my junior year, a few things happened. Actually, it was my second sophomore year is my parents split up. I got in a band. I turned 21, and I enjoyed beer for the first time. I remember Michelob Lights were like my beer. Like it was a beer I enjoyed. And I started to make more friends, but still I never really partied. It wasn't until I went to Russia that I legit I swear to God, where I was like,
I know, that's such a good beginning to a story. It wasn't until I went to Russia.
yeah. And in Russia, I didn't speak the language, but I knew that if we all drank together, we'd laugh together. And then coming home, I started leaning into it really hard. I was like, oh, I like partying. Like partying is a fun. And I got cheated on by my girlfriend at the time who slept with my best friend. And that was a great way to tap it out. My buddy Mike Osborne was like, hey man, I know this isn't great advice, but I know if you drink, those feelings go away. And I was like, okay.
So that's so interesting to me because I kind of had a similar track myself where like in high school, I was just too scared of getting in trouble to like really push the envelope or like smoke weed or drink or anything because I just like, I remember I went high to play practice one time to Wizard of Oz rehearsal. And I was sweating. I was so terrified the entire time that the drama teacher was going to know that I had like smoked a joint or whatever, that it was like the worst experience of my life.
Yeah, I was terrified of drinking and driving. This is going to sound like people won't understand this coming from a guy who robbed a train in Russia, but I'm a big rule follower. And so I've always been. And so I didn't want to drink underage because I didn't want to get arrested, because I didn't want my dad to be like, what the fuck? And I didn't want to do drugs because I didn't want to have drugs on me, because I didn't want to get arrested with drugs and then go to jail. And so like I was a really crazy rule follower and still am in a weird way. I really am a pretty intense rule follower. But my wife will always say that I only apply the rules when I only listen to rules when, and I don't think they apply to me. Like I always break rules when like I bring little bottles of booze on planes and pour it in my drink. So I'm a mess, but that's why I didn't party much.
The big rules, maybe.
Yeah. I don't cheat on my wife, but I always cheated on chicks all growing up. Like, you know, like I was a bad, I said it on I have a podcast with Tom Segura called Two Bears, One Cave. I said it last week. I'm a legit hypocrite.
Yeah, I feel like when I was going to high school, I was getting the like anti-hazing craze. Like it was like the year was 2005 and we had realized it's not cool to let students torture each other.
I was watching Dazed and Confused with my kids, and they were paddling, one of the kids, they catch him and they paddle him. And my daughters were appalled. They're like, why are they torturing him? I said, no, that's hazing. And they're like, what? I said, that's hazing. That happened to me too. And they're like, you had older boys beat you with a stick? And I was like, yeah. And then I did it to younger boys. Like that was the deal. It's like, that's how you became a man, is you were tortured and then you tortured people, right? Like there was a legit week in high school called Hell Week. We had to wear beanies. Oh, yeah. We had to wear beanies, like little beanies with a J and a little visor. You can find it online. Type in Tampa Jesuit beanie. And we used to wear little beanies our freshman year for the whole first 2 semesters. You had to wear a beanie. And the key was you take the little knot, like this little part of it, you take that out, because the seniors would come up and go smack and pop it in your head. So you took that out. And then there was a full week where if you were caught on campus, they would haze you. And the teachers would be like, get over there, elephant walk. Come on, let's go. I mean, it was legit. And then when I went to college, there was like aggressive hazing, the kind of hazing where you go, I'm not doing that to anybody. Like it was horrific. But yeah, that was childhood.
I have a couple photos of you from high school, and I have one photo in front of me here where you're sitting on sort of a white leather couch. You have like a trippy shirt on. which
Oh
I
yeah.
think if I zoom in on, looks like it has the Cat in the Hat maybe smoking weed on it or a
Oh, looks like
cigarette.
it. Yeah, I remember that stage in my life. That is like 18, 19, and that is when I went to college. When I left for college when I was 17, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I I remember my dad saying, "Buddy, you don't have to be who you were in high school. Like you're gonna make new friends. If there's a part of you don't like, change it now." And I remember I didn't like that I was a little bit of a meathead. Like I've always been a bit of a bro, but like I was a big time meathead in high school. Like sports and chicks and like that's it. It was like that's it, really. Fist fights on weekends. Like I was, and I'm not saying I was a tough guy, but I just was my friends were mouth breathers. I was a mouth breather. We liked the taste of windows. We licked windows. Like that's who we were. And
And
so,
you're also at an all boys school, so your life is just being with other high school boys
oh
and
yeah,
reinforcing high
it was
school boy
like
behavior.
a punch in the dick. It made us laugh hysterically, like very lowbrow sense of humor, and you know, and a lot of it revolved around genitals and farts. And so when I went to college, I was like, I remember getting there and going to the student union and finding the Grateful Dead and being like, "What's the Grateful Dead?" And having heard of them but not knowing what they did, and listening to them and being like, "Oh shit, I found Fish and Widespread Panic." And I was like, I'd never read a book. Just never read a book. I'd never read a fucking book. And so I'm almost certain I can tell you that book I'm reading right there is The Firm by what's his name? John Grisham. That came out
Oh,
my freshman year, and it was like all anyone talked about. And I remember going like, I'm gonna read a book because I
everyone
wanted to be a
remembers
different
the
person.
day when they're like, I'm gonna read a book.
Yeah, and so it was like grow a goatee. I had short hair because I was pledging a fraternity. So it was like I was gonna be a brand new me. Little did I know I was joining a fraternity full of meatheads that are still my friends to this day, and we're not gonna let me grow into whatever the fuck I thought I was growing into.
Today's episode of the Roast of Your Teenage Self podcast is brought to you by Purple. Technology has improved just about everything: phones, cars, shopping, yet mattresses have been more or less the same since the invention of sleep. But we deserve better, don't we, friends? And finally, the mattress has evolved thanks to Purple. The secret to Purple is the Purple Grid. It's a patented comfort technology that instantly adapts to your body's natural shape and sleep style. Purple is for everybody, no matter how you sleep. And Purple is designed with over 2,800 open air channels and naturally temperature neutral gel. So you'll never sleep too hot or too cold. Is it TMI for me to tell you guys that I sleep kind of too hot? That I get kind of sweaty in my sleep? I feel like I've shared enough with you on this podcast and will continue to do so that I can let you know I'm a hot sleeper, but not with Purple. Okay, the Purple mattress is soft where you want it, firm where you need it, and comfortably cool all over. Thank goodness now I don't have to wake up in a puddle of sweat. It's truly a mattress that does it all. Here's the thing, guys. I recently moved and I recently upgraded my lifestyle. And part of upgrading my lifestyle was upgrading my pillows. Okay, I was working with, again, just nasty pillows. Okay, some of them flip-floppity, no firmness. Some of them way too stuffed up. My neck is hurting because of how fluffed up the pillow is, but not anymore. I'm sleeping easy with the Purple pillow, and you can count on resting easy night after night, year after year, because the ultra durable Purple Grid won't sink or lose shape. Purple is so confident in what they do that every Purple mattress comes with free shipping and returns and a risk-free 100-night trial. 100 nights. Can you even imagine where you'll be 100 nights from now? So experience the next evolution of sleep. Go to purple.com/teenself and use the promo code teenself. All of those words are spelled the way that they're normally spelled for a limited time, and you will get $150 off any Purple mattress order of $1,500 or more. So that's purple.com/teenself, promo code teenself for $150 off any mattress order of $1,500 or more. Terms apply.
So, okay, so this picture is like you're in college, you're like 18, 19, you found the Grateful Dead, etc. But I also have a prom picture of you. So I imagine that's a couple years earlier.
That is probably not even a prom photo. That is probably sophomore year of high school. It's with Amy Buckman, God rest her soul.
Shout out Amy Buckman.
Passed away doing the right thing. That's what's frustrating about life. She was I think going to school at University of Miami, and they were out partying, and she got in a cab, and the cab got hit by a drunk driver.
Oh my God.
It breaks my heart. My dad's really good friends with her mom and dad, Bucky and Cookie. That picture defines to me, I had this time in my life where I just thought everything should be bigger or better. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like I just thought there's got to be people doing this bigger than me. Like me and my friends, we were all close and we had a great time and we laughed hysterically. But there was a weird part of me that was like, that I didn't get. I just think I recently got rid of that feeling. But that things were happening cooler or faster or better or bigger for other people. And that, how did I get in those circles? How did I get into, and I look at that picture and I remember going like, now I look at that picture and I go, like, Amy was younger than me and a year younger than me. And
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I felt like an older, like my buddy Weecho's in the same grade as her. And I remember going there and being like, I shouldn't be with a girl younger than me. I should be with a girl older than me. Now I look back and I'm like, she's fucking beautiful. Why? Like, she's beautiful. She is beautiful in that picture.
But it's so funny, the things that matter to you when you're in high school, like the difference between a sophomore and a freshman is like, well, she's a freshman. And now you're like, who the hell cares? She's a babe. Like, what
that was her dance. That was her, I think, Coleman High School dance. And she was in 9th grade.
Were you a big flirt? Like, what was your, like, okay, let's say like teenage Bert likes a girl. What's he doing?
Teenage Bert's very different than grown-up Bert. That's teenage Bert was very comfortable trying to kiss someone, very comfortable, probably not reading cues a girl gave out. Like I just was I just remember like being very comfortable with myself. And for whatever reason, college Bert lost it. Like,
that's so interesting.
Well, I think I was a bull in a china shop in high school. I remember I wanted to get laid. I wanted to get laid so bad when I was a freshman. That was like my thing. I dated a young lady. I dated a girl in my grade that I didn't want to have sex, and we just broke up because she didn't want to have sex and I did. Like, that was a reason to break up with someone. Like,
oh yeah.
But I remember thinking that's so important to get laid. And then I had sex for the first time when I was 17 and I fucked it up so bad. And I realized this guy is not real. The guy I'm driving to be is not really who I am. It has no connection to who I am as a boy. I'm a boy. I remember thinking I'm not ready to have a baby, get AIDS, all the things that happen with having sex.
Right, because at that time, like, that was, I imagine the messaging you were getting is like, if you have sex, you're gonna get AIDS and you're gonna have a baby, and
you're gonna have a baby and get AIDS, and I'm
the
not
baby
ready to
will
grow
have
up.
AIDS, and then you have to take care of this baby.
You have an AIDS baby at 17. Oh my God.
I remember they showed us a video when I was in high school, which would have been in like the early 2000s, that was made in like the 80s, and it was like, I just remember this really bizarre 80s graphic that said like 10,000 babies a year are born addicted to crack, and like just like this crazy video that they showed us, and I was like, this is not something that suburban teenagers from like Virginia are dealing with at all. Like,
I'll beat you in spades on that one. 10th grade, Mr. Mercandante brought in a video into religion, hit play, and we watched a third trimester full abortion. Like, for those of you that don't know, and I apologize if this is crass, that is, the baby is completely formed, and they go into the woman and break it apart piece by piece and then remove it from her.
So,
It was aggressive.
I mean, I was like, well, why did they do that? And I'm like, I know why they did that, to make you not like abortion. But what? So I'm like so shocked. Because I went to public school, so we were not shown.
It's pretty aggressive, right? It's pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
This is back when you could hit kids. This is like a different life a little bit. And for some of us, it was like, I would never, to this day, I have 2 kids, but I never thought about abortion. Abortion wasn't an option. I would never get an abortion. And then my roommate in New York, who I grew up with and went to same school with and sat next to me in that class, he had like 6 abortions with 6 different girls. And he was like, I guess I saw a different perspective. He's like, you saw a glass half empty. I saw a glass half full. I went, so there's options. And I was like, whoa.
How religious did you personally feel during that time? Like, were you watching that video and you were like, yeah, well, like you were just said, you were like, yeah, abortion's bad, or are you really into being religious at that point, or what's your relationship to that?
I was very religious at that point. Like I was, but it was also at a time when I didn't like, I remember not, like, if you didn't believe in God, that just meant you were going to hell. So I didn't know why anyone would ever do that. And I was skeptical. I remember being in religion class skeptical, as almost like a true comedian would be, just a contrarian to whatever the teacher said.
Mm-hmm.
But 17 years old, lost my virginity. And for 2 months, every Sunday went to church. Every Sunday went to church and prayed. St. Mary's right down the street from my house. I went to church by myself as a 17-year-old. I wondered what people must have thought. See a 17-year-old in there, they're like, oh, either he's getting molested or he got someone pregnant.
Yeah, like something serious is going on with that.
Yeah,
kid.
and I still have my Jesus piece. Like I'm like, I have a connection. I just thought recently, I was thinking about when I had that period when I was going to church by myself. And I thought, I wouldn't. I can understand finding religion in a time like this when things are a little uncertain. I understand people who want to go. Part of me was like, I would love going to church right now. Just tapping out and going Sunday and putting on something nice, some khakis and nice shoes and a collared shirt and sitting down and listening. Like, wouldn't mind it. I actually looked Sunday on Easter Sunday. I looked for masses on TV, and the only one I could find was the Pope in Italian, and then obviously we're in LA. A lot of them in Spanish.
I saw a bunch of people were like trying to find mass on TV and stuff, but it's like, I mean, that's what there's so much that's missing in the way that we currently have to do things, but like that feeling of actually entering a church and like the sanctity of a church is like, you can't really.
Oh yeah. Being in a church, the smell of the church, the feel of the, there's so much, the uncomfortableness of a pew, getting on your knees. There's so much, the taste of communion on the roof of your mouth. There's so much about church. The being in uniform with everyone else when everyone stands together and everyone sits together. It's so funny. You don't even realize you do it. I haven't been to church in forever, but
it's so interesting that you had this, like, you're like good Catholic boy who is like playing his sports and like going to church alone, and then flip that, maybe fast forward like 5 years and you're number one partier at the number one party school in America. Like, what do you think is at the heart of that transformation?
I think there's a lot of not knowing who the fuck I was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't know who I was until I was probably 42 is when I figured out who I was. Like, I mean, I got glimpses of who I was, I'm still kind of lost. I don't know when. I mean, I get lost at times. I'm less lost now, but there's times I look at my kids and I go, yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I can't believe you're hanging your hat on me at the end of the day. So I don't know. I think I was just genuinely, I was always trying to figure out who I was. I mean, if you could go back, there are huge periods like long hair, short hair, hair dyed white, hair dyed pink, playing the guitar in a band, playing sports, like running,
What was the name of your band?
giving out spankings.
Awesome.
Wait, you've never heard my band story? It's a good one.
I did not.
So I was in college when I turned 21. I was in a band with John Dacre, Brent Bracken, and Ben Carter, and we brought in another guitarist from our fraternity, a transfer student. We brought him in to play, and he played with us for a few times, like maybe 10, 15 times. But we had a good band, and one day I realized very quickly this guy was too good. That he was so good that he was going to realize I couldn't sing, and Brent Bracken couldn't play bass and kick us out. And I wasn't about to lose my band. And it was Brent Bracken's garage we were playing in, so we kicked him out. And he was like, I'm like the best guy in the band. And we're like, well, yeah, now you're the best guy not in the band. And so he started a band called Creed.
Wow.
Yeah, so Creed is Can I Take You
Yeah,
Higher?
I'm like,
everyone can thank me for that.
so
because
Creed. So
he started a band
you
called
are at the
Creed.
root of Creed. If you would just let this guy be in your band.
He would now. He laughs it off and he says, "None of that's true. I don't know what he's talking about." Like Mark Tremonti, he's a cool guy. I get it. We all have different narratives in our life, but I will tell you right now, I definitely take credit for Creed.
Hell yeah. All right. I think that it is time for us to wrap it up. So I'm going to end with just, I feel like a classic question. But Bert, if you had one thing to tell your teenage self, what would you tell them?
By the way, I don't want to say something that my fans would say to me like, hey, stop talking and listen. I would say to my teenage self, slow down. Like, slow down. It's okay. It's going to happen. You don't need to be in a rush. Slow down. People are going to like you for exactly who you are. Just wait. Like, I just wanted to be so many different people.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be the person that I wanted to be the person that I thought people liked so much in my life. And then it wasn't until I was me, and it wasn't until I was me, like a much later version of me. I was just telling this to Guy Fieri today on a Skype. I was saying I was sitting in an Upfront's first Travel Channel, and he was on stage, and I thought, I'm on the wrong path. This is like 6 years ago. I go, I'm on the wrong path. What am I doing in an auditorium listening to him speak? I want to be the one on the stage. I want to be the one. I know that's an egotistical thing to say, but I want to be the one where people come to a theater to see me speak. Like, that's what I want. And I think sometimes it takes losing everything and not knowing who you are for real and being like, so what the fuck do I do now to get there? So I would tell that the high school kid with a full head of hair, I would tell him two things. I'd say, get some pictures of yourself naked now. Like, save those. Do not get rid of those. You're going to want to see those later. Trust me. It's the same dick with a much bigger body. You're going to want to look back at the same dick with a much smaller body. Get a lot of naked pictures. Don't wear condoms and slow down.
Mm-hmm. Okay, get nudes, don't wear condoms.
You're not getting AIDS, buddy. It's okay.
You're fine. It's not going to happen. And actually, in a couple years, they'll actually have really, really good treatments, and you'll be able to live a full and natural life, even if you did get AIDS. Anyway. Bert, it's been wonderful to have you as our very first guest on the podcast. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for all the stories. And until next time, this has been the roast of your teenage self.